if you were on the top of a high-rise, like skyscraper building, right? And there was a piece of wood between two towers across the top with no rope, no support, no safety harness, no nothing. And someone's like, I dare you to walk across the piece of wood. You're like, yeah, right. No chance. Now, let's say you put the other building on fire and your child was on the roof of that other one. Same piece of wood, burning fire. Are you going to walk across the piece of wood? Are you going to hesitate? Are you going to think about it? Are you going to say no thanks? Are you going to laugh? Or are you booking that shit across, grabbing your kid and running right back? What changed? Detachment is always very powerful because we all know that we should be detached, but then at the same time, we find ourselves attached to a lot of things, timelines, goals, comparison, a lot of stuff. So I think that one of the things that you should consider is reframing a lot. Like, the fact that you are a 6A in roughly 3 years or whatever is a huge win. It really is. There's people that have been around for longer than that, and they're nowhere near 6A. Not that it's about anybody else and it's not about comparison, but I mean, you're making it sound like you are the least successful 6A, like in the whole world or something in 3 years, and that's not actually true. And then when you compare yourself, to where you were a year ago, well, that's on you to actually jot that down because there has to be growth, personal
Oh, yeah.
development, family stuff,
Mhm.
insights, mindset shifts, things you've overcome. And so it's not like you haven't grown in a year. It's just you have to almost recognize where you grew and give yourself credit where credit is due. And then the other thing too is I think that finding out why people aren't duplicating in your business is also really powerful, like similar to what we were talking about with Stacy. Someone had to go and say to her, "Hey, it's your turn to step up and like take over," right? And then she did. But until then she kind of wasn't. So there's probably a lot of enabling going on and coddling and like too much it's going to be okay and like you're going to figure this stuff out instead of like the hard conversations and I don't know for sure what you're saying, what you're not saying.
I don't know
So
what
let's
to do.
talk about this for a second. I think that have you guys ever heard that example where if you were on the top of a high rise, like skyscraper building, right? And there was a piece of wood between two towers across the top with no rope, no support, no safety harness, no nothing. And someone's like, I dare you to walk across the piece of wood. You're like, yeah, right. No chance. Now, let's say you put the other building on fire and your child was on the roof of that other one. Same piece of wood, burning fire. Are you going to walk across the piece of wood? Are you going to hesitate? Are you going to think about it? Are you going to say no thanks? Are you going to laugh? Or are you booking that shit across, grabbing your kid and running right back? What
Yeah.
changed?
Urgency of, like, priority of, like,
What's at stake is what
what's
changed. One, your kid is about to burn to flames on a building, and the other one is just for fun, like as a little thing to like walk around. And that's how most people are handling their business right now. So
oh,
even these people that you're talking about, the four people, they're all in, they're all in. No, they're not. There's not enough at stake. So we can use a similar analogy, hypothetically speaking, for those four people is like if they lost their job, if they had a letter in the mail that their house was getting foreclosed on at the end of the month, if we stack up enough things that are at stake that makes this really real, are they going to go get a fucking sale? Yep, they will. But right now, what's actually happening subconsciously is they're like, I'm all in, I'm all in. It's like, but my husband just came home. He brought the paycheck. I don't know their situation, so I could be wrong, but I'm just saying. But things are good. House is good. The house is cozy. It's springtime. Got the crock pot on the thing. I'm gonna have my ice cream tonight. Whatever, whatever. There's not enough real reasons to go out and do it. And so the fear of rejection, the fear of putting themselves out there, the fear of being seen or ridiculed or judged or haters in the comments or family members, whatever, All that stuff that we know exists is really deep down underlying controlling them because they don't have a reason to ignore that and go get the job done. And then when they talk to you, you're in some way, shape, or form because you're, a bubbly, loving,
Oh
compassionate
yeah,
like
I'm totally
person.
coddling.
And so there's a level of like, oh, it's okay, like it's
Oh
fine,
yeah.
just whatever. And I'm not making fun of you. I'm
No,
just saying that,
that's literally me.
yeah, I know, like I know enough. But so it's also out of character for you at the same time to just all of a sudden be super ruthless or something like this. It wouldn't be authentic. It wouldn't work. But that's really the truth is that it's a part-time hobby. If you do make a sale, it's nice. The commissions are so high that it's almost like feels like you won the lottery when you make a single sale. So you get this high. Oh my God, 5 grand? What can I do with that? This is cool. This is fun. And so there's this high of like literally like a scratch and win at the gas station. Holy shit, 5 grand. And then you go do something with it. Maybe you pay off some bills. Maybe you renovate the house. Maybe you go shopping, pay off some whatever. And then it goes away. Ah, let me see if I got another scratch and win. Hey, a sale! Woo! This is where most people are at, rather than very take the emotion out of it, process focus. This is what I do. This is how I generate the sales. Because if you're having these highs and lows attached to these commissions, that's what causes inconsistencies in the money. Where you raise the bar and you're like, listen, anything under 100K per month, I'm not even fucking trying. If we're in a high ticket business and you can make $100,000 in a month with only 10 directs and you're not making that money, you're really not really trying that hard. Even the people that are crushing it and winning, if we had to truly test them on like a lie detector test, how hard are you really trying? They're maybe at 50% because they have their lifestyle. They're freaking walking their dog and going to the beach and reading a book a week and they got tons of free time or they got kids or whatever. Are you really trying hard? I promise you guys, I wish that there was a way for you guys to see the level of work ethic that I had in my business in the first 2 years. You would be shocked. I was a psychopath. And I know I've said this before, but you guys probably don't believe me because I'm pretty chill now in comparison. But like that first 2 years, I put in 10 years of what most people put in because that 2 years was nuts. It was like every day there was a group presentation of some sort. Every day there was multiple two-on-ones in person. And every day there was a whole bunch of back-to-back phone calls and a bunch of conversations in text in the calls. So at any given time, there was 20 to 30 people in rotation daily. Like I was psychopath level of work ethic. I was obsessed. And that's what created the momentum and energy. And the people that weren't willing to kind of like play the game in that way and taking that seriously, they were intimidated. They didn't want to be a part of my team. They're like, if I'm a part of your team, I will be embarrassing myself. And I'm like, good. That's exactly what I want. And then from that, we ended up recruiting others and recruiting others and recruiting others and growing. And even then, over time, the work ethic has kind of tapered off because a lot of people have this allure of automation and systems and ads replacing work ethic. So it's like a teeter-totter scale. The work ethic comes down because we're trying to get all the leverage and automations and systems to do all the heavy lifting, which isn't a bad thing. But if you combine crazy work ethic with the technology, you're easily making 100 grand a month, easily, if not way more. So that's like the real killers. Like a perfect example, like a Samara, just using her as an example. She has really high epic work ethic. And it's not just like working for the sake of working, but productive work and also very systemized and scaling and using all the technology. And that's why she's doing 100, 150, 160,000 and she's not even a dash 3 yet. So it just goes to show you like the scale of what's available. But I think in your case, you got to really like make people put themselves in the mindset of like, what if everything was at stake and really reframing that? Because most people are just so comfortable going slow, taking their time. It's fun. It's a good community. I learned so much. It's all these feel good hormones without any tangible results to like back it up.
Mm.
So that's what you have to instill in your team. So
That's
my point is this. There is a level of initiation that a lot of people have to take. It's like coming out of the closet of your business.
mm,
You got to let the world know this is what you're doing, man. And there's a lot of this, like, you don't have to, hit up your friends and family and do this kind of stuff. I understand that. I understand the reason why people feel this way. But there's an underlying missing piece, in my opinion, that you haven't really truly planted your flag until everyone knows you're doing this and you're
mm,
proud of it.
mm,
That doesn't mean that you need to sell to your friends and family to make your living, which is what the problem is with the other low ticket model. Is like, you're supposed to monetize your relationships to just pay the bills. And if your top 100 friends list don't join you in your downline, well, too bad it didn't work out and I quit and I hate MLM and I make fun of it and I talk shit. That's kind of the old problem with that. But the new problem with that is like, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. But you're leveraging all possible ways of building your business. And then when you do get someone who's interested and you have a conversation, it builds confidence. That confidence gets reinvested back into your ads, gets reinvested back into your thing. Does that make sense? So a lot of people are trying to find success without paying the dues. They're
mhm,
not, they're not trying to truly declare, this is my business. I'm going to be successful. I'm learning how to run ads. I'm learning how to build this on social media, but I'm proud of the company that I'm with. I'm proud of the products that I use. And I want everybody to know that this is what I'm doing. So if you're interested, reach out. And that could be organic as well. If you're interested in this, reach out to me. I'm open to having a chat. But that doesn't mean I'm going to like bombard your DMs. Hey, man, buy my machine or like something weird, right? But it's still like, hey, I'm an open book. This is what I'm doing. And a lot of the people that have had great success in this business model have had that moment where they're like, you know what? Whether you judge me, whether you agree with it, whether you think this is all bogus, it's all good by me. It's a big step. And so I would be very curious of your team members, how many of them have taken that initiative and been like, this is what I'm doing, or they're trying to hide behind these couple of ads and twiddling their thumbs waiting for it to take off. And that's probably an incongruency in their energy, their belief. And that's why it's just not happening.
yeah. Okay. Well, I have a team meeting this week, so I'll be coming back and watching this replay and taking notes and channeling my inner badass to go
And like,
give them a
here's an example. Okay. So you can write a Facebook post as an example, right? People, it's almost like the town square. Like when you make a post on Facebook, it's like, here it is, everybody, whatever. So you could even write a post and use it as a um what's the word I'm looking for? An opportunity to like give an insight into the way that you're thinking, your motivations, your reasons why you started your business. Maybe you're unhappy with the job, all the typical things that we have, but giving it more substance. And it's like, I got to a place in my life where I was making excuses to my family as to why we couldn't do this and why we couldn't do that, why we couldn't afford this, obviously with more detail, but like something like that. And I got to a place where I'm like, I was just sick and tired of my own bullshit. And I decided to do something about it. And this is what I chose. And I'm really excited about it for this reason. I've been using the products for this long because a lot of the people, it sounds like, have been in the community for a while. So they have firsthand experience to say, I've been drinking the water 6 months, a year, 2 years. That has value. It's not like I drank 1 cup at some dude's living room yesterday and now I'm pitching it to everyone I know in my whole friends list. That's a lot harder to buy than, hey, I've been quiet about this for a year. I've noticed these benefits and results in my life. My sleep, my skin, my energy, my hair, whatever is better. And now I finally realized that I've been kind of hiding this from the world and I'm doing everyone a disservice. So I'm just going to let everybody know right now, this is my vision. This is who I'm here to serve. This is who I'm here to help. And if you don't care or you're not interested, that's totally cool because I'm learning these other skills to generate leads with social media. I got a supportive community, da 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 da. So you're kind of still sharing like the bigger picture. This is uh it's like the best way I could say is like a coming home or like you coming out of the closet type of feeling where it's like, just got it off my chest. And then your ads will start to work better. Does this make sense for everybody? Like the resistance is gone. The hiding is gone. A lot of people need to stop hiding and they don't even realize that they're hiding. Only Carlos is hiding because he keeps turning off his camera.
So much. I really
the,
appreciate this. This was very helpful.
Yeah, because it's like if we like even me, every once in a while when I'll make a longer Facebook post or like share a story about my journey with an Agic or like, sales that we did last year, for example, like if you go to my personal Facebook and scroll down, you'll see a couple of these posts that I'm talking about. Every once in a while, I want to share something and I'm like, I got to give a little bit more of a backstory. Like I got to talk a little bit about like how long it's been, because I can't assume that everybody knows the micro updates of my journey and my story and everyone's following along because they have their busy lives. They have other things they're taking, focusing on. So every once in a while, we need to write like a longer post that touches on a whole bunch of stuff and gives people the backstory, the pain, the reasons why we wanted to change. Maybe it has something to do with your parents. Maybe it has something to do with your lifestyle and your job, whatever it is. And then when people go, that's why you're doing an online business. Bingo. And then they comment, hey, thanks for sharing. Now it makes a lot of sense. I was a little bit confused. Like, why I was assuming things. And you'll be so shocked. You're like, wow, nobody really knew what I was doing and why. And then when you take that energy back to your social media and you put it into an ad, now it's like, hey, I don't care who sees.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very difficult to be successful in something that you're ashamed of, you're hiding, you've never fully claimed it. It's very hard. And a lot of people try that and very few make it. Very few are successful that way. Whatever, something like that. So the point is like the way I would do it if I was in your shoes is I would talk to those 4 people and say, listen, you're top 4 in my whole organization out of the 40 that I brought in. This is what I see in you. These are your strengths. This is what's unique about you. This is what makes you special. This is what makes you gifted. This is why I know that you can be successful. Speak greatness into them. Speak belief into them. Acknowledge them for what you think, but you don't say.
Mm.
And they're going to hear you go, oh my gosh, you're right.
Mm.
You're right. I am that. I am good. I can do this because you're acknowledging it genuinely in them. And then once you kind of build them up with that belief and they feel really awesome, be like, listen, but I got to keep it real with you. Right now, the way you're showing up, you're not going to succeed.
Mm.
You're not going to win. You don't want this bad enough. Then you can use one of those analogies like, listen, if you were going to lose your house by the end of the month, if someone in your family had to go through some crazy cancer treatment that was like $200,000 and you didn't have that money, how would you come up with that money? You have a high ticket business right here. You think you can go make 200 grand with this business? Absolutely. But only if you want it bad enough. Starts to change the whole dynamics of like what's available to them. And then the last thing you say, listen, it's time for you to take the wheel. Just like with Stacy earlier. It's time for you to step up. You're going to run the show now. Go make it happen. I'll support you, but go make it happen. You got this. You've been around long enough. You know this stuff better than other people. So what's your goal? And then that's how you finish the call. So what's your goal? And if they say, I'm going to go make one sale, be like, forget about the sale for a second. What's the process? What are you committed to? Daily lead gen, daily contacts, whether that's outreach, inbound, organic, paid, I don't care. What's the number that you commit to? You see how structured this conversation is, where you're checking off a few major pieces. First is belief, because belief is in the gutter. They're probably ashamed to even get on the phone with you. They're hiding. Hey, Christy, how are you? Right? Small. Make them feel big. Once they're big, the guard comes down. They're ready to receive. Yeah. Then you say, okay, you got this. I see this in you. But then you're the tough love. But look, I got to keep it real with you. If you keep showing up the way you're showing up, it's not enough. You're not going to win. You got to bump it up a notch. You got to want it more. And the only way to change you wanting it more is what's at stake. For me, I've shared this many times. You know what at stake for me? What was at stake for me is my kids being alive and born one day before I had children, looking at them in the eyes and having to tell them that daddy didn't do what was fucking necessary before you were born. And so now that you're here, The answer is no. That's what drove me for 7 years. And it worked for me. Not everybody's the same. But my imagination went into the future and I refused to get to that real moment in time in the future with that excuse. It was either me saying, Daddy did the hard stuff and now we got this, instead of what many parents do is like, well, I sat on my ass eating donuts for the last 7 years and I didn't do shit. But they're not going to say that. They're going to blame the government and the president and the climate and everything else. They're not going to say, I didn't do it. And that's how the kids become victim mentality and entitled and all the rest of it, because daddy said to me, the government's the asshole. And that's why, life is hard and we're broke. No, 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 no. That's not what really happened. See the difference? So we got to find that thing. And when you get to know your team members, like these 4 individuals that you're talking about in this intimate way, then you can speak to them in that way that really gets them going. And that's how we as leaders hold people accountable. Not in general, but very specifically to their vision and their goals and their dreams. And that's where you get the like, I hate you, Christy, because you just made me cry and I couldn't sleep. And then you get the thank yous in 6 to 12 months. Thank you. Because if it wasn't for that, I would have given up. I would have quit. I wouldn't have done what I needed to do. Mm. This is to me why I enjoy leadership. Mm. It's the stuff that cuts through the BS that no one else is going to tell you. Mm. And that's what gets the most respect, because it's not easy to say that, right? Like when even just me sharing that to you indirectly to those 4 people, I was kind of starting to shake. Like I'm getting, emotional and charged up because I know how important this is. Like this is as serious as it gets. It's people's lives, their futures, their quality time with their kids. Like it's everything to me. It's the most important thing. So we got to treat it that way.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
I hope that was helpful.
Oh, it's so helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think like when we can really get better at future pacing our lives towards the end of the journey, like one day, 75, 80, 100, 120 years old, whatever, however many years we get blessed with, to start thinking about like at that point in time, towards the end, if we get really pissed off and we look back in time and we get really pissed off and we think to ourselves, man, I really wanted to go do that thing. Like I really wanted to travel the world, but I didn't. Fuck. I really wanted to take my kids to this, but we never got a chance to. Fuck. That's what people think about when they're old. You guys get this? That's what goes through people's heads. They don't tell anybody. That's what they're thinking about. So now we get to be the ones who go back in time, literally time travelers, to when we're 35 or 30 or however old we all are today, and be like, yo, the 85-year-old version of you says, get your fucking shit together and make a move on it. So when you get older, you don't have that conversation. You say, man, I lived an epic life, man. What a fucking beautiful story this was. Look at all my photos, my memories, my legacy, all the things we did. Wow. I'm proud of me. I'm ready to go. Whenever God takes me, I'm ready to go. Right? But most people, that's not how it goes down. Oh man, I wish I had more time. I wish I could go back. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. So now, as leaders and mentors, guess what we get to do? We get to be the voice of reason that says, yo, come on, shake them awake, because they still have the time to do it.